Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and turn on notifications so that you will receive alerts when there are new episodes. Go get it.
That's what I tell them. Look, I've been grinding for so long, I wake up and chase my goals. I go out and I go get it. How to code, that's all I know. I don't succeed, then I don't breathe. Success, what does it mean? If I conquer all my goals, then I'm living out my dream. Dig deep, go out and get it. Success Chronicles. Compete until it's finished. Success Chronicles. Go take care of your business. Success Chronicles. It's deeper than just winning. Success Chronicles.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Chip Baker coming to you with part 3 of these amazing lady authors at Phenomenal Woman book. Great ladies doing some great things. And I'm truly grateful for the opportunity to have them on the Success Chronicles platform to highlight the amazing things that they have going on. And so I just want to warn you first off, it's going to be good. It's about to be some good stuff here, so get ready. But we'll start off with Dr. Danielle Beal. If you don't mind, tell us a little bit about, who you are and what it is you do.
Hi, I am Danielle, and I am a business owner in California. I own and operate an agency called Loving Hands, where we provide services for neurodiverse individuals and their families. We provide those services in Black and Brown communities, and we also offer safe employment for Black and Brown clinicians. I also provide mental health therapy for survivors of trauma within Black and Brown and LGBTQIA2+ communities. Result of some of the experiences I had as a child and through my young adulthood, I really wanted to be intentional about how I serve my community.
Awesome. Good stuff. Well, let's go to you, Miss Bianca.
First, thank you for having us on this platform. It's always encouraging to me to have our Black men support us in this way. I am Bianca Page. By day, I'm an attorney, and service is really in my blood. Like I love pro bono work, work in the community. And so in my other altar life, I'm in the ministry at church, the Spiritual Israel Church, and I've been doing that for several years. And by way of an awakening, my husband and I kind of came together in 2017 and created a spiritual community that in our spirit we call Community of Restoration and Enlightenment. And just naturally, we started doing these workshops, partnering with wonderful, amazing people, just like Tasha Champion, by which we're all here together as Phenomenal co-authors. And we wanted to create a safe space where those who were like-minded and on the same vibration could come together, share things that work for them in their walk, and not be necessarily tied to a religious group, a denomination. It could complement those things if that works for you like it does for us. But it also naturally kind of transitioned into us coaching other couples, because we were already like marrying people and in the ministry, but we saw like this gap and this need to make sure that people were individually whole in them spiritual selves and kind of work in that area. And so we support a lot of couples, some married, some not. And then a lot of times that will lead to individual coaching, like spiritual self-help type of coaching. And that's where we are now. We are just trying to up level, do workshops, and see where this walk takes us. And as my own self, there's always been like a writer in me and a need to help turn my pain into purpose. So I just love living from that space, however that means. So however it shows up, I'm there.
Let's go. I love it. I love it. Well, Miss Latoya, what about you? Tell us a little bit about who you are.
Hi, Chip, and hi to my Phenomenal Women co-authors, sisters. Excited to be here today. Thank you very much for having us. In my professional life, I am the director of events and programs for a nonprofit civil rights organization. And I've been in event planning for over 20 years. And I, in this second half of my career life, wanted to marry my professionalism and my expertise with things that are dear to my heart. So working in the civil rights arena for Black and Brown people, on topics like, or issues like education, economic sustainability. These are just things that I feel passionate about, and I feel very blessed and lucky to be working. Well, let me change that. Not lucky, just blessed to be working for an organization that aligns with my personal beliefs, and that I'm able to marry my professionalism and my expertise with doing the work in the community. I'm also a creative. I have been singing for a very long time, and also a choir director. And so, as a creative, I got my start, and tapped into my talent or my gifting in the church. I also am a minister and serve in my church as well. And so, seeing my son, my oldest son, who immediately had a love for music and a gifting for it, and just was writing songs from the time he was 3 or 4 years old, looking for things in our area for him to be able to tap into that gift. It was kind of difficult. I live in Michigan, but I live not close, not. I'm not really in Detroit. Let me put it that way. And so everything was just kind of far for us. And I had a passion to teach kids about the gifts and callings that they have, that God has given them, and how to use that. And so from that, I birthed an organization called Key of David Worship Arts Camp. And so what I do is I invite kids to come into this camp, and they learn biblical principles about worship, but then we train them in their gifting. So if you're a dancer, we have a dance instructor that comes and teaches you dance. If you're a keyboardist, you learn that. If you are a painter, you can do that. A poet. And so that's really my passion, is working with young people, and also helping them to develop their creativity and give that back to the world. So that's what I do.
Awesome, awesome. Now, what I'd like to do is just dive into discussing about your chapters. I know that there's lots that go into writing chapters. You have to be vulnerable and relive some of those emotions and things that you write about. But I think at the end of the day, we understand. Like I know y'all get this because everything you do is about service, you ladies, and we know that it's bigger than us. But we have to put our heart and soul and passion into it, because we know that it'll be a blessing for so many. And so let's just touch base on what your chapter is about and what that process was like. So Dr. Danielle, we'll start with you.
Thank you. So I want to share that I think I was the last co-author to be selected in the book. And it was through another co-author who actually helped kind of raise me. So I had a really traumatic childhood, and found myself pregnant my first semester of undergrad, and my mom had died my second semester, and I adopted my 11-year-old brother. And so I had to navigate a really abusive relationship, homelessness, navigating my mom's, death, and really trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life. It had become clear to me that I did not want to end up like her. And so I, again, became really intentional about what I was doing for the first time in my life. And that just kind of propelled me into different spaces. I found the church at an early age. I had such a strong, effective community holding me up. I had kind of resolved some racial issues that I had, some cultural issues that I had kind of struggled with my whole life. And suddenly woke up one day and found myself in a doctoral program, and was really like, how did I end up here? How did someone like me, with all the trauma that I've endured, end up here? And so that led me to kind of write a dissertation where I was exploring trauma and resiliency in Black American women. Through that, was able to complete my pre-doc hours at the same shelter that my mom received services from when she was a domestic abuse survivor. And so Tasha had kind of called me one day and said, "Oh my gosh, you're writing a dissertation. I think your story would lend itself well to this book." And I was like, "Absolutely not. I'm not a writer." But in kind of being challenged by another co-author, Theresa Shellcraft, had realized that I had developed a heart of service, that I had become a servant leader in my field and in the spaces I had occupied because of my experiences kind of overcoming some of that trauma. And for the very first time at I don't remember how, at 40 or something, found myself really reliving some of those deepest, darkest kind of things that I had been ashamed of for so long. And it just opened the door for me to kind of just start to re-examine that trauma as I was working with survivors, as I was kind of becoming a new mom after 18 years. And it just was, I always say it was God just kind of showing off because the way everything just kind of unfolded, and then finding these other beautiful women and you know, the excessive phenomenal woman. It's just been absolutely beautiful journey. And it's just one that I always say, like, people ask me all the time, like, how did you do it? And I'm like, God literally, it was like, he was like, step here, step here, step here. And I was just obedient. And that's kind of what my contribution was to the book, was just exploring all those little decisions that I made across my life to break some of those generational traumas.
So good. And before we go on, I want to tell you that I love that picture you got back there on your wall. I know this is about you, but I got to share this one with you too. I think you might like this. Let's show you that one.
I absolutely love that.
Oh my gosh. And it's 3D. You can't tell it, but the artist, he did like 3 pieces and put it on it. It's amazing. But I wanted to share that with you because, like, you know, that's my dude. So
yeah. If I can just share when
Come
we
on.
moved into the space. So I've always been, you know, about resolving a lot of my past and learning how to be an activist and an advocate. I just at an early age knew that I was a servant leader kind of naturally. That was a gift that I had. And so when I started working with neurodiverse individuals and, you know, a lot of who I am to my career, I really had to be intentional about what I consume and what kind of the space that I occupy. And so when we created this office space, it was really about like my journey, my partner's journey, and kind of this being the space where we spend a lot of our day. And now, you know, we work from home. And Dr. King is just, I think, an exceptional human. He also adopted the tenets of servant leadership, which I didn't know until years later. And so this is a room that just really is motivating for me and my entire family as we work in here throughout the week.
Awesome. I love that. Love that picture. Love that story. Well, Miss Bianca, what about you and your chapter?
Oh my goodness. I'm just enjoying the conversation. I have to tell you, I love hearing my phenomenal co-authors speak. And even though I've read the book and their chapters more than once, I'm just always in awe. And I learned something new. My chapter that I begrudgingly signed up to do, although I think I just said in my intro, I've always had writing in me. But the last thing I thought I would do in the midst of COVID, because you got to think about it, Chip, like we were all writing and had been writing like in the heart of it all. And when Tasha came and Tasha Champion came and invited us all in, our edits and things were all in the midst of like that because we're in 2022. So 2021, we came out with it. So we were in the heart of 2020 writing. And the last thing I kind of wanted to do at that moment was to go back and dig up some other stuff when I'm in the midst of dealing with my mindset of being in a pandemic. But it ended up being just what I needed spiritually. And it was a great diversion to write my chapter titled Heal the Little Girl Within. Didn't know that that's what I was going to write about. I'm sure there was something juicier or more present that Tasha thought was going to come up because she knows a lot of my story and my journey. But I was called to go back, kind of bearing testament to what Dr. Danielle said. Like there was this theme that keeps coming up in my life, and it went back to childhood. And it went back to some changes that happened in my family surrounding a very traumatic and sudden separation of my parents that completely destroyed my safe space. And so there have been many times in my adulthood that I realized I was actually operating from that hurt little girl that had been so disappointed that it was really skewing my view. Like that was the filter through what I was seeing so much and like experiencing so much in my life. And I really deal with pattern work, and I started to see the patterns, and I was like, wow, where is this coming from? And I knew that I was the common denominator. And so it forced me to look within and start the self-work journey. So my chapter touches on, my individual experience of how I navigated that situation that kept showing. Dare I say, like trauma or something. I feel like when I look at it, the whole scheme of life, to me, I was able to survive it, but it definitely was hurt. And it was what I like to call a pain body that I carried throughout. So I talk about my work on that and how I even recognized that it was something I needed to do at all. And truth be told, like I have to make sure I still nurture and love on that little person in me so that hurt doesn't rise up again. Like it can, if you don't stay conscious, you can operate from that subconscious hurt. So, less and less frequency does that little hurt Bianca come up. But I hope that in sharing my experience, it gives somebody else an aha moment or permission to allow themselves to go back and do some work and enlist the help of others to support them. And I'll stop there. Thank you.
Yeah, it's important for us to always look within to win, And I think when we can focus that energy and effort on doing that, it allows us to be the best version of ourselves, not just for us, but for others as well. Dr. Danielle, I'm going into your stuff now, right?
I was literally just making a note that I commend you, Miss Bianca, for moving into that brave space of tending to little Bianca's needs, because as grown adults, I don't think that we do enough inner child work. And this is essential for our survival and those continual healing journeys. So I commend you for moving into that brave space.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Yeah. All right, Miss Latoya, what about you and your chapter? How was that for you?
My chapter, the theme of it, I would say, would be overcoming. If I had to put a theme on it, and how I got involved, I think I was very surprised that Tasha called me. I know Tasha through her mother and my sisters, who are much older than I. They went to high school together and are more like sisters than friends. Mm-hmm. And so Tasha and I kind of grew up as extended family together. And she called me actually on Juneteenth in 2020. And we had a conversation, and she said, I'm going to do this book, and I'm calling specific women that I think have a story. And I didn't really think I had anything, I'll borrow from Bianca, juicy to say. I didn't think I had anything to say that people would want to read. And she said, I think you do. I think you have a lot of things that you can say. And so I grappled with what to say. And I decided to talk about my journey through grief. In 2018, I lost my oldest sister, and she had had a journey of illness pretty much as, for her entire life, and she was on the brink of death early in 2018, and I saw the healing power of God bring her back. Like literally, she was on life support, a tracheotomy, all of these things, and then she recovered. And at the end of 2018, she died. And so I grappled with questions. I grew up in church, of why, and seeing the healing power of it, and then seeing her leave anyway. And then I went through a journey of depression, just not necessarily wanting to not live, but live fully. You know what I mean? Like really not just existing. That was the space I was in. And really, if you know my personality, I'm one of those people who people would call the strong friend, like that people come to, that people, can you pray for me? They need advice. And I think I was wearing a mask. Most people, even my husband and children, didn't really know that I was struggling because I was still going through the day-to-day motions. I was still wearing the smile when I needed to. I was still showing up at church serving, doing those things. But inside, I was not doing well. And so I talk about that. I talk about the journey of healing, and my journey of healing was three-pronged. One was recognizing that I needed grief counseling and working with a professional who gave me tools to journey through and work through my pain and my hurt. And through that, also recognizing that I didn't have to wear a mask and be strong all the time, and I needed to let the people in my life be my support, right? And not that I always have to be the support, but I need to allow others to be my support. And so my second prong of success through healing was family and friends, and my church community. And then the third, and I think the most important for me, is my faith, and really just leaning on that and leaning into that, and through prayer and meditation, and really having honest conversations even in my prayer, because I think sometimes even in prayer we wear masks, but like God doesn't know that you're angry,
Yeah.
that you're mad about these decisions that have been made that you don't understand.
Right.
And so really being more honest even in my prayer life with him about how I was feeling, and that helped me journey. And then on the other side, which I still feel like I'm grieving, but it's in a more healthy way, if that makes sense, because I think loss, you never really you still ache and long for those people that you've lost, right? But you can do it in a way that's not detrimental to you, if that makes sense. And so just on the other side of that, seeing the impact that my sister had on the lives of other people, and the gems that she left and the things that she left for people, has really catapulted me into the urgency to live out my calling and live out what it is I'm here to do. And so part of that, I'm really glad that Tasha called me, because it has launched me into, I would never have done a podcast or anything like that, because I'm kind of a background person.
Right.
But being able to speak about my pain and what I went through, it's purposeful, because I do believe everything we go through is not necessarily just for us and our building, but it's to help somebody else. So that was my journey.
I love all of that you talked about, because I kind of resonate with that as well. Like really, I'm like an introverted person, and my passion allows me to come alive, right? And so I understand what you mean when you say that. And I really just have one word in response to that, and that word is boom. Let's go.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, that was 3 words.
Yeah.
Good stuff, and I feel you on that. Well, as we go around again, I'd love to give you all an opportunity to let the audience know where they can follow you and check you out and show you some love with all of the amazing things you have going on. So Dr. Danielle, we'll start with you.
Thank you. And Latoya, I wanted to say that like it takes a really strong person, and I'm using that in quotes because a part of what I want to do is kind of disrupt and dismantle that misnomer that Black women are strong, right? But I use that in this sense intentionally because it takes a strong person to learn how to ride those waves of grief instead of being consumed by them. And so what you said absolutely made sense. And so I'm applauding you from my office in California. So I can be found at my website, www.daniellebill.com, or on Instagram under the same name, Danielle Bill.
Awesome. Good deal. Miss Bianca?
Thank you. I can be located at the COREOF letter U, the Core View, and that's on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and then that's also www.thecoreview.com. Always the letter U.
Awesome. Miss Latoya?
Yes. So on Instagram, I am Songstress, SONGSTRESS_1913. And on Facebook, you can find me at Latoya D. Elliott.
Well, there it is. Again, I just want to say thanks so much for taking the time to hang out and be highlighted on the Success Chronicles. I think it's phenomenal. I think it's phenomenal, the things that you all are doing, that you're blessed to do, and how you're doing it. You know, there's a difference. You know, people can do good things, right? But when you can do it with a pure heart, with genuine intentions, not looking to gain anything from it, but looking to give with everything you got, you know, that's a great place to be. And you ladies are doing that. And so I want to commend you for that and wish you continued success.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chip.
All right. Well, again, thank you guys. Thank you, ladies, for taking the time to interview with me. Thank you guys for checking out this episode. We'll see you next time. God bless. Go get it.